What's the origin of the phrase fancy free?
Like having no fancies.
Free from emotional involvement or commitment to anyone.
Oh, I love it.
God, what
now I like it.
Hashtag goals.
I am an island. Let me be. Let the tides try to shape me. And then eventually I'll fall into the sea because
Abandon
global
me.
warming.
How long do you guys think you could go without having to just in isolation?
Without interacting with other people?
Yeah, and not like in solitary, like in a prison, but
like on an island.
Yeah, but and then all the creature comforts are there.
Sure.
So if you want to read something, it's there for you to read it. If you want to listen
No
to
internet.
music. No, why not?
But you can't connect with people on internet.
No, you can. You just can't hang out with them
Be
in person.
around in real life.
Oh, I could go weeks.
Yeah.
If I had
I could go
internet.
years.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, why put a cap on it?
Yeah, literally until I die.
I could go until basically that island is subsumed by rising sea levels, and I would just be like, well, we had a good run.
No, I'd miss seeing people.
Wouldn't. Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. I was like, which of us is
The most social?
yeah.
I would guess me.
You're like hands down.
Well,
you.
it sounds like
I mean-
based on this little thought experiment we've done here, it's absolutely
And I even
you.
think a few weeks would be hard.
Yeah. Well, you would be like, how long do you think it would take you to go full Nell? Like a year?
I mean, I love the movie now,
Yeah.
and I would probably start by pretending to be now.
Yeah.
And then it would just become real.
It's like, oh no, halfway through that year, what have I done?
Tay in the wind, chickapee.
You're just doing like those kind of like dust baths that birds do, like in your front yard, just like flitting around in a dust cloud, and everyone's like, I'm reading this book right now where a woman like has decided to literally hibernate, where she's like got an unscrupulous doctor who will like medicate her all kinds of things, and she's just sleeping all the time. She like inherited a lot of money because
Is
her
this
parents
fiction?
both died. Fiction.
Okay.
I
was like, can I do that?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like it's a self-help thing. I got it with my bullet journals. I'm really trying to dial it all in, but it does sound like I guess it's supposed to be not aspirational, but I'm like, this slaps. She just sleeps all of the time. And then like lives in Manhattan, so she'll just like go to a corner store to get like food and stuff like that, and everyone will go like recoil when they see her come out of her like.
Does she have health
casket.
issues from not?
We're not that far yet, but I can't
Okay.
imagine that like kind of like
You can
weird after feed kind of like
yeah,
muscle
like you
issues
get
are
bed
gonna-
sores and
Yeah.
like
Yeah. The
I
one
don't
thing
know.
that bed sores is like the boogeyman that keeps us all from sleeping as much as we like. Like people who love their beds are like, but you know, bed sores,
Yeah.
it's the thing that keeps
when
you.
we figure out a cure for bed sores.
Yeah.
Have
Got
y'all
it made in the
ever?
shade.
I sometimes fall asleep on my hands,
Yeah.
and then they wake up like
You wake up because your body's like, hey.
yeah, something gets numb
Yeah.
or like you fall asleep wrong, and like that does terrify me because it's like you can hurt yourself in your sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild.
But what is I guess tissue damage? Like if you don't have like a blood
Yeah,
flow.
and like
Yeah.
no
yeah.
circulation goes
Yeah.
there. My dad actually had a client once. Like,
Oh no.
Yeah, it's bad. I don't remember the exact details, but like she and her partner like passed out because of drug stuff
Uh-huh.
and were like unconscious for like a day or two.
Oh.
And like she got like super like I think he fell asleep on top of her or one of those kind of situations and like super permanent terrible damage.
Oof. There's just no blood flow to whatever
I
extremity.
guess, yeah. This is not a great story because I don't remember exactly what happened.
Yeah.
I just remember being terrified when my dad told me about it.
Well, and this is the danger of having doctors in like your life or in your family or friends or whatever, because they never tell you the not horrifying story. It's always like probably like an exceptional thing, not like a routine thing.
Well, this was lawyer, but still, he represented people with disabilities and people who are getting Social Security disability. So I only heard about
the most
like
horrifying stuff.
like I've always been scared to dive into pools because from a very young
Yep.
age I was told about spinal cord
Drains.
injury.
Yeah.
You're gonna.
Oh,
Yep.
see, I've heard about drains. Like
Yeah.
I knew this guy. I was doing the like when I first got out of school, I was doing this like weird freelance job with this guy who, and whatever. He had a dad who was a doctor. He grew up on cruise ships because the dad was a cruise doctor.
Oh my
Incredible.
So,
already incredible.
I mean, already
That's such a weird
what a weird life.
childhood.
Eloise at sea.
Yeah, exactly right. And so, and this is just a PSA for anybody who likes cruises, because this is a real, or flies, similar potential danger. But somebody basically like their butt created like a perfect seal, and like, you know, those toilets on those like huge kind of industrial ships and stuff like that have like a lot of suction because they're basically like pulling it, and so they like prolapsed themselves. Because and so and then
So
now
get up before you flush.
Get up before you flush. But now they're designed in a way where you can't flush without shutting the toilet lid because the switch is like behind the lid.
Oh.
I had to go on a cruise for a work job once, and I was just like, get away, where are these toilets? Like, you know, they're like all around me. They're all waiting to suck us down into the bowels of the ship. But like, he's just telling us this story like while we're eating, and I'm like, fuck doctors, and then the children of doctors and people who, you know, like my sister's told me a ton of horrifying stories. She's a lawyer, horrifying elevator accidents.
Absolutely that kid that would be like, well, this could, like, I would always tell people all the ways we were going to die.
Yeah.
Kyle, or get severely injured.
Kyle, were you haunted by death from an early age?
Yes, depression. Just sort of no direct experience with it. Just always sort of a feeling like it could come at any moment. And I welcomed it.
Well, speaking of weird body dysmorphia and being turned inside out, we saw a David Cronenberg movie this week. This is, we are definitely afraid of the dark. It is the Scary Movie podcast for people who are scared of everything. My name is Stephen Smith. I'm scared of everything.
And I'm Emma Holder, and I'm more scared of more things. and I also have a sinus infection.
And I'm Kyle Romero, and I'm a big, brave boy.
Yeah. So this is our final hosts-only ep of this current theme rotation, our current theme month, which is Creepy Kids.
Spooky
Kids.
Scary kids, creepy kid,
We never settled on
Baby
an
New
adjective.
Fear. Is
Oh, yeah,
what
that
I
was the
pitched
official
last
name.
week.
Baby New Fear. Yeah. That's snappy. That really pops on a social. Everybody immediately goes like, "Oh, I get what that joke is." Click. So it is our final installment for Baby New Fear. I don't remember how much of like our plans we teased, if any. Maybe my tendency is to probably like overshare and be like, "This is what we're gonna do."
Yeah,
we do
and
it.
I tell you not to,
And
because then if it doesn't work out,
Emma rightfully tells me not to. And in this case, this is a good choice, smart move, because I was originally going to do Goodnight Mommy, a movie with kids in it, but switched to what we watched this week, which is The Brood by David Cronenberg. Probably like a more appropriate selection for the theme. Bang on theme.
Bang
so
on.
scary.
No ambiguity about whether or not
These
this is
are
falling
creepy
under-
kids.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, like the justification for picking it was, all right, not feeling like Goodnight Mommy was like quite the right, the right choice. And Kyle off mic told me that past guest in like film aficionado Lance was like, yeah, kind of indifferent about Goodnight Mommy as a choice for the theme. Or maybe about it in
let
general.
Lance rule our lives, guys.
He knows a lot about
He does.
things.
I know, I'm kidding. I'm absolutely all listen to Lance.
I'm like happy. Yeah, me too. I'm happy to sort of like succumb to the external pressures of people who care about these things more than I do. And Goodnight Mommy is just a movie I was interested in seeing. I remember seeing kind of like posters and maybe even a trailer for it and seeing it seeming creepy. But like not exactly happy with that solution or that choice. So went and looked at a list of a bunch of other movies and didn't really read anything about this. It just had a production still that was like these little fucking ragamuffins with their messed up faces. And I was like, just a full like body chill and then like a general looseness in my asshole, like just kind of feeling like, and I was like, that's what we got to pick. So that's what we did. And Kyle, you had stumped pretty heavily from it from the beginning when we had like our initial discussion.
I've been wanting to do a Cronenberg for a while.
Yeah.
Is this our first one?
This is
so.
our first Cronenberg.
He made The Fly. What else did he make?
Spider.
Crash, not that one.
Okay.
Videodrome.
Videodrome.
Yeah. Anything that's anything that has like a lot of liquid latex
Aliens?
that's like showing like a weird cancerous growth.
Not Aliens. He did not make an alien movie.
Okay.
So pukey.
Existence.
which is good supposedly. I've never seen it, but like I can't get past the title.
A History of Violence.
Oh, I did see
Oh
that.
yeah, I saw that.
That's his later career. When
Yeah,
he
I
does,
liked
like,
that.
real-
I mean,
Yeah.
it was very dark, but I liked it.
Yeah.
But no, he moves away from like the fantastic body horror stuff.
But it's still
into, like,
very.
There's still a lot of
still-
gross.
a lot of
Yeah.
gross, a lot of icky in that, and Eastern Promises too.
yeah.
Also
Oh, that's what
very
I'm thinking.
icky.
Oh no. Oh yeah. Wait, what is it?
They
That's
both
the
have
one-
Viggo Mortensen.
Yeah,
in them.
Viggo
He's in
Mortensen,
both of them.
and that's the one where Viggo Mortensen gets in a full frontal nude
Naked,
fight.
yeah.
And,
Wait, what is
I never
History of
saw it,
Violence?
but I
'Cause I've
remember
seen A
hearing.
History of Violence. What is that?
Viggo Mortensen
Yeah.
owns a diner or something,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he's like a former
He had a
mob
previous
guy
life,
or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
So you just gotta like fuck people up. That feels like it was like a comic book at some like a serious
Yeah.
graphic novel.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, yeah. So this is our first, and definitely like we had to do it at some
We
point
had
in
to
time.
do it. We had to do it.
We still got to get. I think Videodrome would be a good choice.
Oh, yeah.
At some point in time, that's one of those ones that I can't watch by myself, so I would relish the chance to do it. What yeah.
Oh, should I do the summary of this movie? Should I explain what it is?
This is
Steven, stop talking.
Well, this is my favorite things because I do absolutely love this segment, but you always have to prompt me.
Well, because my thought is, it's not that I don't want you to keep talking. I don't want.
We want to catch people up.
We got to get it out of the way so people are in on the convo.
Right.
If we do it at the end, it's not helpful.
Yeah. So it's like we do our ratings, and then Emma does an entire recap, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's what they meant by chin scrotum." All right, break it down.
Okay, so Frank is the dad of Candy, who is Nola's daughter. That's the family. Nola is away at this upstate, only not upstate. We're in Canada.
wild.
Up country. But you could also
Way
make this
upstate.
New York. If you can't handle Canada.
North New York.
So she's at this like mental health facility that's like very new agey and weird, but like also very intense and creepy, called Psychoplasmics.
Institute for Psychoplasmics or something like that.
So Nola's there getting treatment. The dad is not allowed to see her, but the daughter is. The therapist seems kind of crazy. He does a lot of role playing with him being daddy or mommy and the person getting sad. And then
15 seconds left.
Then Candy goes to her grandmother's house, who Nola doesn't like her mother. She has issues with her mother. She says her mother beat her. The mom is killed by these little children in a child in a snowsuit and a creep face. And then the dad is killed by that same thing, the grandpa.
Yeah.
And then we find out eventually. So he goes to visit. Frank goes to visit the institute to he goes and finds out the dad is dead, and the teacher, the school teacher who's hot, and like they're gonna do it. There's a will they, won't they?
No, she's hot.
Yeah,
She's cute.
Look past that thin hair.
the thin hair is
Okay, she has Carol Brady hair, but thin.
Great boots. Great.
She answers the phone at Frank's
the
house,
2-minute
and
mark.
it's Nola, and she's like, "You slut, get away from my husband!" And then she hangs up, and then what I think is the craziest thing in the whole movie, the little children come to school with Candy, and they kidnap Candy and kill her teacher. In the middle of a classroom, so you see all these like 5-year-olds fucking witnessing murder, which is great.
Ass. It's great.
They bring her to the institute where the mom is giving birth to these creatures, and they're her rage personified, or her emotions personified. So whenever she gets mad, they kill someone. So Frank has to kill Nola to save his daughter from her emotions. And then, so everyone's safe. All the broods, which are the little creatures in snowsuits, die. They're driving back to the city, Nola and Candy, and we see Candy has bumps on her arm, so she's probably a brood too, or something.
Or she's got like brood powers.
She's gonna make a brood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a brood mare. Well, 3 minutes.
You know,
The cold mixed with a truly weird, twisty-turny plot.
yeah.
Yeah.
we got it.
We did it. We nailed it. some details left out are all the supporting characters of just essentially
the best part.
Canadian character actors probably playing like guys who are like a little bit off the mark, a little bit left of center,
a little twisted.
All right, so when this movie starts, Hal or what is the name of the doctor?
Hal,
is talking to a guy named Mike.
Starts in media res, right smack in the middle of a therapy session,
and so. And then it's interesting though because it's like happening like in the round, like in a theater, and so I'm like, ooh, this is like sort of like artistic contemporary theater or something like that we're watching here.
I thought it was an acting class.
I thought it was an acting class, and then the guy, like the doctor is like emasculating this guy Mike and telling him he's like a weak girl and he doesn't care about little girls and calling him Michelle, and he begins to break out into these like hives. He has like these physical reactions to it that change, and I'm like. Still, my mind, once set on something, has a very hard time deviating from it. So I'm like, still a play, but like very interesting makeup effects for this live play. And then realizing like, oh, okay, this is therapy. Okay, I get it. But like, truly an unsettling way to start the movie.
Yeah.
Fully 70s. Everyone's wearing like karate gis.
Paneling everywhere, wood paneling everywhere.
And then it's all these people kind of like wrapped in attention watching this guy basically get like emotionally abused by somebody who's like calling him his daddy.
Yeah.
So this is what therapy's like?
Yeah. This is what I'm training to do.
Did you get your gi?
I'm only a yellow belt right now. I have to be a black belt social worker.
Is there ever what do you think your style of, because I know it would be a huge ethical violation, but can we ever do like a quick sesh just as the podcast or as Pendulum, or maybe have you diagnosis like you've joked about in the past? Because I just like want to understand what your flavor is going to be. Like, are you going to be like a domineering taskmaster who is trying to get people to curry their favor, or an open, empathetic, emotionally supportive person? What's your style?
Well, I'm hoping for the latter.
Ooh, but can I sell you on the former?
I think I'll stick to what's ethical for my profession, so I don't lose my license once I get it.
How are we all gonna?
Cares?
How are we ever gonna grow external wombs on our inner thigh with all of that weak?
It's
shit?
true. It's true.
Yeah, that's sort of a part you kind of glazed over was the baby sack dangling off.
That she grew the baby outside was truly wild.
To quote Emma. Ew, what's going on with her pussy?
No, I said that after the baby was born because I thought the baby sac was like higher up.
I thought it was like more, womb,
it was like
kind of here
in her abdomen, and then it was, and then she had a second thing going on in her pussy. So maybe she grows them in different spots.
I think was it her thigh?
No,
though?
here's what I read for that is that it was not
deflated.
It was like the deflated child sack kind of hanging low.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not
low.
her deformed pussy.
So do you think it falls off like an umbilical cord segment like after time, and then she extrudes
and then she
a new
grows
one?
another
Yeah.
one?
Oh.
Well, that's that placenta, though. I hope she eats it. It's full of nutrients.
Yeah. She's like, should somebody freeze this? Like, freeze dry this. We can put it in soups and smoothies. Anyways, that weird ass therapy session happens, and you're like, something is amiss here.
Mm-hmm.
This movie, I knew it was going to pay off. Kyle, sort of like validated that feeling like about 10 minutes before the end. I think Emma was like, what's going to happen? Are we going to see where these kids come from? And so you definitely need that payoff. But like a lot of setup. A lot of just the husband kind of like...
Well, there's the mystery of it.
Yeah.
I do think it's smart to start the movie, and Cronenberg's done this in several of it, especially his early stuff, where it's like a cold open that shows you like the crazy thing.
Yeah.
It's like there's this weird therapy. It causes physical manifestations in some of these patients.
Yeah.
And then after that, you sort of get the rest of the exposition. You get all that set up. I find the whole thing, it's a tight 90, there's like not a lot of fluff on it. It's pretty, as far as structure, it's like, here's the opening, here's the setup, and then like 3 kills, and then the batshit set piece. Yeah. But yeah, it is a little bit before we get to see the weird beak gummed creatures.
Well, there's a moment in this, so it's like, like Emma said in her recap, basically they're just these like little heat-seeking rage monsters who can like track down and kill whoever has wronged Nola. Mm-hmm. presumably there's some sort of higher brain function or something like that, so they can like navigate maps, or maybe somehow they use her sort of like sense memories as to like find their way.
Well, they
to
seem
the places
to
they
walk
need to kill.
everywhere, so that's kind of exhausting.
They walk everywhere.
They're slow. It's like it follows. It's like they're just like
Do you think they
especially
eat?
considering they have a finite energy source.
Yeah, because they have the little loose fleshy sac on their between their shoulder blades that keeps all of their. It's like the mitochondria of them, and it keeps them powered. And then once it's empty, they starve to death.
It's a camel hump.
So they're like kind of like one, like they've got like 2 good days, maybe 2 or 3.
We don't
based
know.
on the
We don't know
timeline
how
of the
long
mother.
they live.
Well, it's like the mom, the grandmother dies, and then the following day, maybe the grandfather flies into town, and then he's there that night. So it's like 2 or 3
Couple days, yeah.
But that one died.
That
On
one died
its own.
supposedly of starvation.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. Because there's this, so this weird demon child or whatever kills the grandparents of the woman who's in therapy, who's like the sort of mother of all the nightmare babies. And then there's this wild ass scene where the police have this thing on a slab.
They do an
and are
alien
just
autopsy.
X-Files
about it
style
in the most
autopsy.
cool, calculating, like nonplussed tones. It's a new species.
Yeah.
Because it
Literally.
doesn't
And they're
have
like, well, we've never seen this before. Interesting.
a new fucking humanoid species. And they're like, oh, notice any subtle difference here? It's got no navel. It was never born. Oh, it's got a power source sac like a camel, like a hump on its back. Oh, it's got no teeth, but it does have biting beak-like, like a weird beak-like mouth.
No sex organs.
No sex organs. Visible facial dysmorphia. Hair lip. White hair.
Yeah.
Like a streak of white hair. And then it's also a child, which makes it really weird because
Yeah.
it's just lying like naked on the slab there. Everybody's just cool, smoking a cigarette, no big. They publish a photo of the thing on the newspaper
That
the
was
following
wild.
day. And everybody doesn't just go like, the banks are closed. School is canceled. There is a new species
There's a new
that's been
species.
discovered.
We've all seen it.
And it's killed.
It's killed 2 people.
But honestly, in this day and age, do you think I
With this
feel like
news
people
cycle?
Exactly, people will be like, oh wow.
On to the next thing.
God.
One of these
what
damn
about the P-tape?
Kardashians, or what are they up to?
You don't think Pendulum wouldn't be trying to get the new species to do one of those like video testimonials for
Oh,
promo?
a cameo?
Pay for 50
Oh
bucks
my
on
god,
Cameo.
can we get a brood to do a cameo?
It's just like
Yeah, they don't
slapping
talk,
around
do
its
they?
huge, thick tongue.
We just put whatever subtitles underneath it we want. Yeah. They have a thick, turgid, immovable tongue that makes speech impossible. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, they are very much on brand for us. If we could get a brood, shit.
We be in business, baby.
Finally, we go fill up some of these houses, get a bigger house with, and then I mean, if you had a brood, not if you could make
Just
them.
one
we'll
or
get
just
to it.
had
many?
one.
You got a Lucy. It can't find can't find its way back. You're just throwing like
runt.
power bars in its hump to keep it going. What do you trying to monetize that? You trying
Oh,
to get
hell yeah. Yeah. It's going to be like that
P.T.
segment in
Barnum.
Buster
Yeah.
Scruggs with Liam Neeson and the...
Oh yeah.
I didn't see it yet.
Okay.
Is he a carnival barker or what?
Yeah,
it's the
him and this,
saddest
like,
thing in the world, actually.
man without limbs that tells
He carries him
stories,
around.
does
Tells
poetry. He
stories.
does poetry stuff.
Well, he's acting. He puts he has like a stage built into his wagon, and he just sets him up on a chair, and he'll do like Shakespeare monologues or like
But he's
readings
just
from
a
the
torso.
Bible, but
Yeah.
he's just a torso.
It's sad. But
You gotta watch that movie, dog.
anyway,
Wait, Emma, you taking your brood to work? Like, bring
I
your
mean,
brood to work
are
day?
they dangerous? Or are they going to kill people if I get mad?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, they will.
You still have that tether.
They're psychically connected to you somehow, even though you did not birth them.
I
mean,
feel
literally.
like that would make me feel really guilty, and I would kill it if
Yeah.
I knew.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, maybe I'd also try to sell them, or I'd be like, "Oh, I'm so mad at the government right now. I'm so mad at everyone in the cabinet."
Oh, yeah, maybe that's the key
Yeah.
to getting rid of Trump.
You
We
got
all
That's the
just-
Manchurian
revolution.
candidate
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, literally.
Yeah, dude.
I would sell it. It's like you have a psychic connection with your loose brood child that you find, but it will pick up that psychic connection with whoever you give it to. So you have to sort of like matchmake, transfer a deed.
Yeah,
you kind of have to do like a
doesn't have
speed dating.
anger.
Like, you guys connecting? Yeah, you got like a thing here. Okay, cool.
Okay, brood, this
You're
is
brood
Tinder,
now.
and they're like, like swiping left and right on stuff, trying to
They
find
immediately grab a mallet and go to hit your phone. No, stop. You use your fingers.
Okay, you guys are out there. You're in that dating world. How many dates do you go on before you introduce your new love interest to your brood? Before you're like, listen, things have been going really well.
Wow.
We're sexually compatible. You make me laugh, but I'm also funnier. That's important. I got a secret, baby.
I got a secret rage, baby.
Oh, yeah. That's a good question. I don't know.
It depends on the look, because like if you've been like going over to their place, and they've never been to your place, and it's like you're 3 or 4 dates in, you're gonna have them over. You're gonna want to give them a heads up that in your attic you do have a collection of 10 demon deformed beak mouths. Yeah,
And you could also just tell them early on. You'd have to find a way to make this not sound terrible, but like better
I think that goes without saying.
Better not piss me off. Because my brood might kill you.
Sentient revenge army. Well,
Listen,
they'll come over
I
to your
know
place.
you want me to take out the trash, but if you remind me about it again, we're gonna have a brood problem.
You're like, hey Kyle, do you mind getting the trash? That stinks. That stinks. Suddenly you're scratching at the walls. Well,
yeah,
they come
that
over
would
to your
be
house.
really terrible for anyone you're with. Like, can't make me mad.
No.
Can't do it.
You have to disclose that type of thing on your profile. Yeah, I think now that we're talking about it, you have to be upfront about it.
So you get like, how many pictures do you get on Tinder? Like 5?
More than that.
Okay, let's say it's 5, right? Okay, the first one is like kind of a cute glamour shot, right? Second one of you posing with a dog. Third one, like maybe fall all the way back so they can kind of like get like an understanding of you. Fourth one, you and your brood. Fifth one, you on vacation with your boys, like sipping marks. You gotta like bury it late in the queue, but then also round out the stack with something less terrifying.
Honestly, those things force you to go so quick, like the way that they're built. People may not even notice.
Yeah, they're like, oh, he's like he does like special effects for movies or something.
And then after the fact, you can be like, well, I put the picture of the brood on the profile. I can't believe you didn't notice it.
You should have known to not get me mad.
Yeah.
That was my eulogy.
We all know what a brood is. We saw them on the front page of the Sun.
It's funny to me because, like, not to say that no one in the room here doesn't have like paternal or maternal instincts, but we do not have children. So, like, maybe some of the themes of these movies are lost in us. We're like, yo, it's wild having a brood, right? Okay. Remember, get that Quip toothbrush or something like that. We just like blow right past. Okay, so the brood is like on the loose. I think for me, it's
brood on the run. That was Man on the Run, but with brood, in case you couldn't tell.
Band on the Run.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
What's that Robert Palmer video with like the women with red lipstick and the black dresses? Is that what it is? Like, if it's just him singing, he's got a brood of like sexy.
Might as well face it, you're addicted to brood.
Guys,
man,
what a fun movie!
What a fun movie.
We're having fun. Okay, so they're killing. This is dead ass scary to me. Even though I feel like I don't 100% agree that it's like as lean as it could be. It felt like I'm like I just want to see. I want to see more, know more. Like maybe earlier on, but you're right. Like in terms of the setup, it's like it's perfect, but it's fucking scary to me because they're tiny.
Yeah,
They use like
They're
an old
extra
person's
strong.
hands.
Yeah.
Well, do you think that these are little people or they're children?
I think it's
when
little
they're
people.
jumping on the doctor, though, they have like children's bodies. They feel like they're sort of.
I don't know.
There was a shot. No, sorry. Go ahead.
Labor rules would make it easier to work with little people than children.
Of course.
But
it's also Canada.
I don't know what Canada in the 70s did
anything
about
goes.
those things.
Are there movies where like little kids wear a lot of makeup, like this kind of like scary makeup?
Probably.
Or is that
Probably.
All right.
But I can't think of as an example.
Because those same labor laws are like
The
you can't-
Exorcist. I
Okay,
mean,
yeah,
she
there you
was
go.
a
Yeah,
little
definitely.
kid.
Yeah.
Because you can't like put them because the makeup's going to take 6 hours.
But didn't
and
they
then
make
can't
labor
shoot
laws because
after.
of that movie
Oh,
for children?
Probably, yeah. Yeah, I believe so.
I feel like we talked about that.
You
I
got to
can't
get it there
remember.
under the wire if you want to.
Oh, also-
exploit the kid.
Yeah, and a lot of the times it was not actually Linda Blair in the makeup. My understanding is that
Right.
it was somebody else, but
Well,
yeah.
So they do these like close-up shots, which is like a kind of like older hand that looks
Yeah.
like an older person's hand.
Those were not kids' hands unless they were
no.
covered in makeup.
Yeah, and they still felt like they had like wrinkles in them and stuff like that. So it's like that's unsettling because you only catch quick glimpses of them. Like there's this great shot when the brood kills for the first time, which is like the grandmother, where it's like destroyed the kitchen, everything's smashed, and she comes in. She seems kind of nonplussed. Her whole kitchen is wrecked, but anyway, she's like trying to find the source of it. Like maybe a raccoon got in or something like that. And then
Unbroken
you see
shot.
her turn up, like look to the kind of like corner of the room near the ceiling,
Just past the camera.
yeah, and then they cut to a shot from her from behind where like her head is obscuring most of what she's seeing. You just kind of see the little stature in the snowsuit, and then it's full like it kills her. It's very unsettling,
It's
like
terrifying.
little things, particularly like jumping and latching on you, and then like you have to like sort of swing to get it off. Fucking awful.
The first time I saw this movie, that scene fucked me up. It got me good.
It's very scary.
Yeah.
It's very scary.
Well, arguably, I mean, it's like a matter of personal preference, but like we talked about the sort of monolith figure kind of like moving, like Voorhees or Michael Myers kind of like moving this wall of ominous intent coming at you. Ooh, little things that are fast and multiples. Scarier,
Yeah.
dude.
Yep. Pass. No, thank you.
Well, it's just because there's so many of them. But
Yeah.
also, just one of them killed two people.
yeah.
So, like, they obviously have some sort of strength and, like,
Yeah.
force.
They're like punching through
Behind
them.
walls and stuff.
Yeah.
When that brood came out from under that bed and grabbed those two snow globes, was beating the grandpa Barton Kelly. He always said his full name.
Yeah.
Right,
Anytime
right,
he
yeah.
smash on his head, and then the dad Frank comes in and it snarls at him and fucking throws the snow
Yeah.
globe at him, and it goes straight through the wall.
Yeah.
Like fucking what's his name in Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
Incredible. They're very, very, very strong, very fast.
What's that show where like those two science nerds do like physical tests of ideas?
Mythbusters.
Mythbusters. We need to do a Mythbusters episode of Wadad where we like test things like that, where we get like a little kid, try to get them to throw a snowball, snow globe through a wall, or like I don't know
will
what other
say-
movies have we watched.
I will say that snow globe was not like a regular snow globe.
was like a
It
paperweight.
was solid glass.
Yeah.
So it was really heavy. I think
You could
one
do it?
we could do that.
Oh, here we
as
go.
long as you didn't hit like
This is the
Now
I think-
I'm
This
into
is
it.
Depending on the
Wadad
quality of
Mythbusters.
We
the-
gotta find
yeah.
some drywall. We gotta find some solid gold,
Yeah.
solid gold, solid glass snow globes.
We gotta coat
Okay.
it in human blood to see if that like creates like a
Affects
viscosity.
Oh, good
air
point.
density.
Good point.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, so anyway, so the brood is basically killing anybody who's wronged the mom. The mom. How would we?
Seems to be in like a deep sleep anytime this
Right.
is happening.
she reminds me of Dana in Ghostbusters when she's like in that trance mode, like she's like sexy
floaty,
but
yeah,
dangerous,
sexy. Yeah.
and I'm talking but I'm not really here.
Right. Yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly what it is. And she doesn't have recall of what's happened. She just feels like relief.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like the sort of like emotional after effect, but without having to actually remember what happened, which is like kind of the perfect crime.
Yeah. You
I
can't
mean,
blame her
No court in the land will lock you up for
no
for creating broods.
yeah.
until you show them that
well,
belly sack, and then it's like
they're like, well, actually,
put her away forever.
yeah.
Bring the torches.
So do you think this was a new thing she was able to do? Like once she started therapy? Because it seemed like before, she had a child, a regular child,
Yeah.
and like was living her life. So
Absolutely.
what gave her brood power?
I think therapy.
Psychoplasmics.
Yeah,
It's like
psychoplasmics.
that thing of like where he's always like push past the rage, go to the end of it, go to the end of it. Whatever his technique is,
Made her birth.
it like makes people have
Broods.
like physical mutations or deformities. Because we see the guy with the sort of testicle neck.
Oh, right.
And so things happen that are like, you basically change the physiology of your body. So he got a weird cancer.
Yeah.
She got a weird external womb.
So what do you think that's saying about working on ourselves? Should we just not?
It does seem like it's a bit of an
definitely-
indictment of like kind of immersive.
Women.
Yeah. Well, and then also processing trauma, like any
Yeah.
sort of like, any sort of direct engagement with it only yields bad things.
Well, fun fact, this movie was actually made while David Cronenberg was going through a custody battle with his wife. So this is him just like processing it
Yeah.
all the way through.
As a horror movie.
And
Yeah.
so her attorneys just played this movie in
Yeah.
open court, and they're like, so obviously she gets the kid, right?
Oh, man.
A mother's love is better than whatever this guy's got kicking around inside of his head.
Well, there is sort of like there's that scene towards the beginning where he's talking to his lawyer, and the lawyer says like the court system values motherhood.
Yeah.
And free of context, you're sort of like, oh yeah, that's true, and you know. But then like knowing the context, it sort of feels a little bit like a men's rights activist talking about family law.
Yeah.
Like they're just like, we need to reform custody laws. And I think that if you watch it enough times and you dig deep enough, there's a little more nuance to it. But on the surface, it is definitely
That tracks.
Yeah.
I would definitely cosplay at a men's rights rally as a brood. Like, as a brood super fan where it's like, women are taking our broods. Like,
You're wearing a cute little snowsuit.
What I'm saying is, all
blonde wig
these
on.
ideas are just ways for Wadad to get out into the culture, man. We need to break past this limitation of this podcasting format and really interact with the people.
I would
going
love
3D.
to go to an MRA rally. Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna cut that audio clip and just use that.
I'm gonna
over.
go and I'm gonna have a bunch of, is it red that are bad or
Red pill.
Red pills.
Yeah.
is what they take to see the truth?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm gonna have a bunch of blue pills and I'm just gonna throw them at them.
Just whipping people with like two
Viagra.
Yeah. Oh my god, Viagra's a blue pill. That's
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
Oh, is that a thing?
They
No.
probably
Yeah.
don't talk about
They
it.
probably don't. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So back to Brood. So she kills both the kids. Like we see some of the therapy. Like I guess there was like some sort of domestic violence, like growing up, and so her mother abused her, and then she resents her father because he never intervened,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And she resents her husband because he doesn't support her.
He abandoned her.
Yeah, exactly. And
Instead
then,
of helping
what do
her
we
get
think
better.
she feels about like her actual flesh and blood daughter? Because she seems to be pretty cool with her dying. At the
I
end.
think she loves her, but she's so far gone.
Yeah.
The rage takes over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
And-
like, it's more important to piss him off.
If I can't have her, nobody can.
Yeah.
kind of
I'll
thing.
kill
Yeah.
her before I'll let you
Yeah,
take
yeah.
her away from
Which
me,
is-
what she says.
Fucked.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
clearly
But not-
she's...
Yeah.
Uncommon.
I'm wondering what's happening to her brain every time she makes a brood, you know, like...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What
She's not there.
What her lymphatic system is like flooded with.
Oh my gosh, I can only imagine. Just because, like, you hear so much about how like pregnancy and childbirth changes your brain, and it really does.
Tight.
Like your brain does a pruning.
What?
Excuse me.
That is
It
what
like
my
irons out some of its wrinkles.
no. It basically
So you can
like
form new ones.
That's the opposite of pruning.
sheds some
pruning.
stuff that like is not maternal, so there's room for more like maternal instinct shit.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, like all the people who I know who are like mothers where they've got like multiple kids and like their sort of like identity has been subsumed by that to a certain extent, like do feel like this is going to sound absolutely insane, but I'm just going to go for it. But like do feel like almost a separate species because they have so much clarity of thought and kind of like indifference to like quotidian bullshit that like is to me is important.
Totally.
And it probably is because you're just like, well, ultimately like one of my primary functions is to keep this other thing alive, so I just have to let so much go.
Right.
And it's actually biological that happens to your brain.
So is that an evolutionary step?
I believe so.
Fuck.
Like to help you like
so both as a man and somebody who doesn't want to have kids, I'm a subhuman species.
Well, I do believe I think some stuff can also happen to men's brains. Wasn't paying as much attention to this part because honestly, when my professor said that your brains prune, like that's such a like I was just like, oh, they're cutting off parts of my brain,
just like aggressively,
like, topiary,
shaping it into
I'm never
a chicken.
having kids. So like I was hung up on that, but I believe there is like men also get oxytocin when they interact with their kids, like. Similar stuff happens, but not to the same extreme.
To the same degree,
It's not even. I will tell you, as like someone who recently spent a lot of time, all kinds of kids in my life now, but not like a kid that I created. It immediately upon meeting these babies, I was like, oh, I will absolutely kill someone for you. Like it wasn't even. There was no hesitation. It was just like. Yeah, of course.
I don't have that.
Well, and I wonder, because, like, I'm not an aunt. I don't know if you're an uncle.
I am.
So, never mind. Like, because they are closely biologically related to you, even though they're not yours, if that increases it.
Totally.
Oh, no doubt.
Or I mean, probably with adopted kids too, but like that, like feeling of like you belong.
Well,
I need to protect
my
you.
sister's daughter. I feel this sort of because our family's like very tribal. It's like us versus them. It's kind of like the mentality. So immediately from day one, it's like you're in the fucking club, ride or die.
Yeah.
She's adopted though, so there's no like there's
biological.
No,
but it's that same
but
thing.
It's still
it's
this,
like you're my family,
and it's this sort of like collective sentiment that we all share and kind of like immediately non-verbally align on. Like, so is my emotional connection to my sister's kid stronger than my emotional connection to my wife's brother's kids?
Probably.
Yeah,
it is
100%.
And so like that's also a wild thing too, where I'm like more interested in that's just a weird dynamic as childless people, where like our role is to be like the cool aunt and uncle. I'm like, well, I want to be cooler for this kid though than this other kids.
Definitely.
That's interesting. I
don't
never
think
thought
it's
about
unusual
that.
because I also have like my step siblings have kids and like I love them deeply. But I do feel like a stronger connection to my brother's kids because when I look at them, they look like my brother. Like they look like one of them especially looks exactly like my brother.
Wow.
And so it just like floods my brain with these memories of like, there's like all the family stuff of just like, you're obviously related to me, I must protect you. Mm-hmm. But also because I was old enough when my brother was born that I remember like holding him as a baby and like taking care of him as a baby. There's that feeling of like, oh, it's like basically that same thing.
Yeah.
Only now I'm like have enough cognitive ability to like recognize what's happening.
Yeah.
There's this like my niece, my sister's kid, is like her biological parents she's biracial. Is like a Latina mother and white father, but she's got very light skin. My sister also has this like really light pearlescent, like almost or like transparently white skin, and then they have the same hair texture and like. She's my sister's kid, so she sort of like styles it the same way, which is to say, not at all. Shade to my sister.
Damn.
But like, it's a weird thing too, because like the need to kind of like have this assimilation into the family is you're like, oh, like I have to remind myself that she is not her biological child because I'm like, oh God, they look so much alike.
Right.
But there's no genetic precedent for that, but your brain is like almost filling in the details.
It's a survival thing. Like, I'm sure it is like like you're putting that
like you're one
territory.
of us stamp.
Yeah.
Man, having kids is fucking weird.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Remind me though again, like definitely Kyle is ride or die, wants to be a father.
Yeah.
And then
absolutely.
Emma, what's the...
I go back and forth. I really love kids and would like to be a parent. I'm very scared of our world today.
Yeah.
I'm really more into the idea of adoption, but there are some huge ethical stuff around adoption too. I mean, I'm getting more and more okay with the idea if I don't have kids.
Yeah.
But I do, I want kids.
Okay, cool. Just good. I just
And I feel
wanted
very
to be
comfortable
reminded.
talking about it clearly. As I'm giving this, like,
Okay, so anyway, these killer kids are out here. They're killing the grandparents. The grandparents are dead. The father, whose name is
Frank.
he gets his daughter Candy's teacher to basically like come back for like a little bit of a booty call kind of thing.
Tit-a-tat.
Yeah, ooh, yeah, more like tit-a-tit.
Tit-a-tat.
We're like, fuck.
But their sort of tryst is interrupted because he has to go intervene with the drunken grandfather who subsequently dies. And so this teacher is left alone. Blue. Well, never
Blue
mind.
ball.
Blue ball, but I was like, do I say blue lipped? It's very gross. I'm very gross. But I did it anyway. Her vagina
Is blue. She's a fucking Smurf
Folks,
pussy.
can you believe it? This vagina's blue.
So she gets a call from Nola, the mother, who's in therapy, and she has a visceral reaction, which is like, "You're gonna break up my family," and she sort of screams and does her kind of like sort of terrifying, like barking at her, and then. So like now she's marked. The teacher's marked for dead.
Yeah.
And it culminates in the scene that Emma described that is like one of the fucking craziest things to imagine. Just again, like, how do you explain this to your child that like, we're going to do this thing. It's all make believe, but it's basically like all these little kids file into this classroom. They're all wearing their little snowsuits. And so they're kind of indistinguishable from one another. Two of them don't take off the snowsuits. Lo and behold, it's brood kids.
Brood kids.
And then they just grab little like
Candy.
yeah, they grab Candy and they sort of secret her away, and then they also grab like these little hammers that are like from a kind of like wooden block playset and just go ham on the teacher.
Town on that teacher.
And it's just all these 5-year-old kids watching it
I
happen.
wonder-
It's tight.
So, but I do remember when we were watching that, like, they didn't actually do any shots where the kids were in the same frame as like the murder. So they could have
do.
do.
They definitely
They
did,
definitely did. They're
Really?
like, one is like going at her legs and kind of tearing at her. The other one is on her back and they're beating her. And it's a wide shot of the
wide
whole
shot.
classroom.
So you
of,
do
like-
see the kids?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I just
yes.
remember the reaction shots of the kids being
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I mean, like maybe the audio of it is like we're having fun, like they're like,
Yeah.
or something because
they're playing
Yeah.
children's music. Rafi is pumping through the studio.
and then there's just this shot of like all the kids crying and the very bloody body on the ground.
yeah,
Yeah.
One of them bolts out and goes to get help.
Yeah, he goes and gets the father.
that
and
might
then-
have been real. That might have been the kid just like running away.
They're like, go with it, go with
Use
it.
it, yeah,
Ad-libbing,
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
just trust him.
Cronenberg's one of those directors who's like, I'm going to try something. Don't tell the other actors, anyway, like it is a crazy fucking scene. And like, I guess whatever, like children are resilient. So you can just be like, it's all make believe. And then like, they'll get past it. But it
I
seems
don't think
fucked
they'd
up.
film that today. I don't think they'd get away with it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They would do it different.
Or
Yeah.
they do
They
it
would-
digitally.
They would
or,
find
like,
some kind
They
of
would find ways
yeah.
for the kids to not be exposed to that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
just green screen it all together or something like that. But it's fucking wild.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And then I'm like, what does that mean? That I'm like, this is one of the craziest and best parts of this, like real world drama. That
I mean,
probably
I think because
resulted
we
from
know
it.
it's not real.
Yeah,
I mean, I
it's
do.
fine to.
Now that we've dissected, I'm a little worried about those kids, but they are Canadian.
They're fine.
Yeah.
They'll bounce back.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all have to kill a moose when they turn 13 so they can become a man and a woman.
I was just thinking they have socialized medicine. They can get therapy.
They can go to therapy. Yeah.
Well, no, they don't want to go to therapy.
Not Canadian therapy. It does weird things to your body. So the father Frank is trying to build like a weird like or like a legal case against his wife to kind of like try to go after her in court and get full custody of Candy. So he starts meeting all these people who are like essentially like rejects from the program, Soma Free or the Institute for Plasmics.
Plasmatosis. No, I don't know.
So he meets that one dude whose name
Jan. I don't remember his last name.
Jan was great.
He's doing like calisthenics in his weird
He's waking up
he's
his
in an
lymphatic
institute.
In
system.
some sort of
yeah.
convalescence.
It's
home.
yeah, some sort of like weird halfway home for like old people, or then maybe people who kind of like can't work, like fit into society. So he's rolling around on the floor doing these like weird calisthenics, and he's wearing a sweatsuit and then like a kind of cravat or something like that made out of a
But it was a
sweating
towel.
Yeah,
It was a towel and a scarf.
yeah,
Yeah.
And so he's looks like he's fully turtlenecked, and then just casual as you can. He's like, oh, I've got cancer. Like, I got it from the psychoplasmics. Like, that's obviously like why I'm suing the doctor. And he's like, how can you prove it? And he pulls it aside, and he's got like 17 little scrotums.
Little nodules.
Yeah.
It looks like if you've seen Avengers Infinity War.
No, I went to blow my nose during that part. So I missed
you're probably better off.
the neck testicles. But
it looks like Thanos' chin from Avengers Infinity War.
Like striations.
But
yeah.
I did. So my friend, when I spent a semester in London. This story is important.
Neck testicles are all the rage.
No, I spent a semester in London, and my friend from college came to visit, and he did not pack for the weather because we went to college in Florida.
Of course, yeah.
And so he's in London in like February or March and didn't bring a scarf. So he wore his towel as a scarf all around London. And it was a little embarrassing, but fine. I didn't really care. But it was pretty funny.
You were fancy free.
Yeah.
Fancy free.
Whatever. But anyway, I was like, oh, weird. I've seen this before. But as far as I know, he did not have neck.
Well, I mean, that's the follow-up question, right? Which is like, A, was this friend in therapy? And B, what was he hiding from you?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, that's very gross. This character, though, rules.
Yeah.
Incredible. The
funny.
actor's so good.
Yeah.
it's so
Why didn't we
good.
see him in more stuff?
I don't know.
Probably because of that comb over, man.
Yeah, he's got a pretty harsh
that was rough.
comb over.
I saw
heavy part.
if they were remaking this and that were a more substantial part, I was like, oh, Adam Driver could do this.
Yeah.
It might have just been the hair minus the comb over.
Yeah,
but
because it's this weird combination of like charm and like charisma
And
then
psychosis.
Also,
deep,
exactly.
deep creepiness.
Which is basically Adam Driver on screen in every role he's ever been in. You're like, I'm kind of attracted to him, and then also like,
yeah.
yeah, that's Adam Driver.
And then also just, I think also potential shout out for Mike/Michelle, who just plays a kind of like fun, unhinged performance and is like going through almost like drug withdrawal from the absence of this therapy. Like it's created some sort of physiological dependency in him. And so he's like in a real bad state. All we ever see on him is kind of like blistery hives. So it would have been nice maybe if he had like a weird
his own little
thing. In
I'd
his
like to
chest
see if he. So do you think they grow broods too?
No. I think
That's
it's
just
only
her.
Nola. She's and I
the
think
special one. They make a point of saying that.
Oh yeah, she's the one who stays.
And do you think Dr. Howell has theories that like this is where it will lead, or like it's just like whoa, she can grow broods. Let's keep following this rabbit down the rabbit hole and seeing where it leads.
Yeah, I think it's that.
Yeah.
I think he's like, oh, I'm definitely writing a book about this,
Right.
and so it's like a kind of a cash cow thing, but also a little bit of that thing like, now I have become God.
Yeah,
like I've manifested this new species, basically.
I mean, I'm here for the distrust of the medical profession and
Absolutely.
sort of like doctors
Yeah.
as like. Having this sort of God complex or the narcissism
I
of doctors.
hear you
I'm with
100%, folks. Do not vaccinate your kids.
Yeah,
is what,
That is what
Steven
we
and
are
I
saying
are
on this
saying.
podcast.
We're all saying it.
We don't believe in it.
I mean-
Sorry if you have an immune issue and need the rest of the population to help you live. We don't buy it.
Herd immunity is fake.
Listen, we've already said that we're all comfortable living by ourselves in total isolation.
Just everyone get on board.
It'll fix the sinus infections and all that sort of stuff. We'll just be much better off without it. And also, like, why get needles stuck in you while you're at it? I did have to recently get a vaccination to be around a new baby. And I was like, why should I have to do it? Because I'm like a monster. But of course, I wasn't like, I don't believe in it. I'm just like, I can't be at,
Was this the flu shot or something else?
It was the, not measles, not
MMR?
rubella. It's like tetanus and like whooping cough. Because apparently,
Weird.
like, because these are all things that are like
Weird
popping.
tetanus, because that's like what you get from rusty nails.
In my book,
Well, I think it's really for the whooping cough, but it
Oh.
just, they come bundled together.
you don't get herd immunity by immunizing yourself. You get rid of that herd. Just toss that herd out.
Yeah, man.
And
Oh my gosh.
complete isolation.
Thin
you're good to
that
go.
herd.
Thin that
Kyle
herd.
Romero's final solution.
You know
Lock
what?
her up. Thin that herd.
You know what would really help out? Global warming.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
A plague.
God's own solution.
Nature's going to do about 20% of the work, and then man will do the other 80% because then it's going to get ugly.
Oh
But
my
I do
God.
every time I see a pregnant
brood
woman.
there.
Every time I see a pregnant woman on the street, I'm like, do you not have Twitter or like a newspaper? What are you doing? I understand the biological instinct. I get it. Well, I don't, but I understand
don't,
it. Like,
yeah. You're just.
I understand in theory, but I'm like, it's going to be so bad for them. But
Yeah, but it's
I
always.
think that people
there's
have hope
something,
that that'll
you know,
change.
yeah.
Or they adamantly don't believe it's real.
Yeah. Either way.
And I think there's also, I think for the most part, it's hope that there's just still an optimism that I don't think is crazy.
I think normal people.
I don't have it, but
Yeah.
I think normal people with normal brains don't live their lives
In fear.
in constant panic that the world is gonna.
but
go
with
up in
global
flames.
warming,
How do they get out of bed then? Because I usually do because I'm like, scared by something that's underneath the bed.
but I do genuinely feel like a lot of people are changing their mind about having kids in the last 5 or 10
Oh,
years.
it's definitely affected people for sure.
And there's apparently like a sex drought where like new generations aren't having sex at the same rate anymore, but that's apparently cyclical. Anyway, so we get the sort of final set piece to lay the stage. Candy's been kidnapped by brood kids. Frank goes to like essentially find her at this weird like, you know, cool outpost in the woods, like where all of this therapy happens in like this beautiful
God, it's
building.
so cool.
It's so pretty.
It's so
I'm like,
beautiful.
yes, I would come here and let like whatever tumors, whatever, if I just get to hang
Just
out
let
in
me
this sort
be
of
in
like
this-
dwell spread.
It
Yeah.
it reminded me of the colleges I looked at in Western Massachusetts. Not like the old buildings like at Smith,
Yeah.
but like Hampshire College.
Yeah.
That is what it looked like.
Claire went to Sarah Lawrence. That is what it is. It's like you're surrounded by woods. It's cold and snowy, and then like everything's glass.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
God.
a dream. It's a dream. So Frank goes to essentially like track down Candy, and he confronts the doctor. And then they essentially like strike a bargain. It's like
At gunpoint.
the doctor's like, I've got a gun. And he does that cool. If you pulled a gun on somebody, I don't think I would be calm and collected to kind of do it from the hip. I'd be
No.
like, ah!
Arm out.
Yeah. And so the plan is Frank is going to go into Nola's like bedroom or whatever, her like breeding chamber, and he's going to act
Sweet talker.
Yeah, essentially like confess his love for her. He can't live without
Doesn't
her.
work though.
To sort of like tamp down the rage of the brood who are upstairs in the attic with Candy, and then the doctor's going to go up there and try to save her. Do things go according to plan?
Nope.
Folks, they don't.
It's wild because he's like, I'll go up 30 seconds after you enter the chamber.
Yeah.
And it's
Which
like,
is really optimistic in
Yeah.
his belief in Frank.
Hey, honey, I'm back. I love you. Let's please get back together.
because her first reaction will be rage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course it will.
So like, give it a minute.
Give it a
Maybe
minute.
2. He tries to talk her down. It's ineffective. He's like, I love you. I'm ready to go on this journey with you. Everything about you. I'm all about it. I'm all in. I'm all in. Take me there. Take me there. Take me there. And she's like, let it out this. And then she lifts. So it's a custom garment.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's got a full slit from like bust down to the hem.
Yeah.
So she can kind of do this bat wing thing and just open up her dress and describe what we see.
It's like a full on Pulp Fiction briefcase thing where like she's like, "What about this?" and she pulls it open and you just see his reaction and he's like, "But you." And then they can't. So when you do see it, it's a wide shot of her. I guess sort of pans down. It's like kind of mid on her face, sort of pans down and pans out, and you see her. She's nude underneath this big white robe, and she's got this egg sac sort of hanging off of her abdomen.
Yeah.
And it's got a fetus in it.
Yeah.
But you can't really tell right away. You can't really tell that right away. But yeah,
she bites the baby out.
Yeah, she animalistically tears open the sack
With her teeth.
to pull the baby out.
So
the
if
baby,
you guys,
has the camel fuel sack hanging off the back of it.
It did?
Yes, there's a little yellow sack hanging off the back of his fetus. And then, controversially, she starts licking
it clean.
Licking it
like
clean.
licking the afterbirth off
Yeah,
of it.
licking the baby clean. And this was the actress's idea. Cronenberg actually did
hell
not
yeah,
plan
Pam.
this.
Really?
Yes.
Go all in,
And
queen.
Cronenberg loved it, of course.
Yeah.
And got super pissed because when the movie was released, the censors cut out most of the licking. And made it look like he said the way that it was cut made it look like she was gonna like eat the baby, and he's like, "That's way worse than licking it clean." Yeah. But I think for the current version that we watched, the licking went on like as long as the director intended it to.
If you had a baby out of your body like that, and you had to, the only way it could live, is biting into the sack and pulling it out. Would you do it?
Yeah, no question.
I guess.
Yeah, I guess you kind of have to.
If it's the only way it can live, yeah.
But then you have to pretend to lie. You have to convince.
Oh, I can put a dental dam down and go like,
real talk. Real talk.
You love it.
Y'all never eating a scab or a booger or none of that stuff. Eating a toenail.
No, this is literally.
I've eaten a booger. I've never eaten a scab.
I've never eaten
Come
a scab.
on, people do it.
I know people do it. I don't. I've never eaten a scab. I've never eaten a booger. I used to bite
Even
my
as a
toenails.
kid, you never ate a booger?
No. When it's a thing in movies, I have to look away and I feel like I'm going to throw up in my mouth. It grosses me out so much. And I love to pick my nose.
I thought every kid
I
did
love
it.
to pick my nose.
Yeah.
But even the talking.
I remember one time
Steven is turning green.
One time I was walking, I had a friend come over for school, after school, and we were walking down my street from the bus stop to go to my house, and I was like, my mom will probably have a snack for us. She's like, I don't need a snack. I have a snack whenever I want it. And did this, she had planned a bit around it, and I was like, we can admit we pick our nose. I thought we were supposed to pretend we don't do that. I was just so impressed.
Dying.
Oh.
He cannot go on. We
Well,
don't have
Truly
anyone.
the most disappointing thing I could ever see a child of mine do.
Should we?
I'd be like, out of this house. So anyway, so then the brood goes. She doesn't believe him. She goes into a full rage fit. The brood attacks the doctor, kills him. It's wild. That's when it convinces me that I think that they're actually kids, because just like they're like their shape, and they seemed quite light. Like there were a bunch of them on him at once. They felt like little kids. But
True.
I mean, who knows?
who knows, man? And then Candy gets essentially attacked by them, but Frank is downstairs choking the life out of the wife.
She hides herself. Luckily, buys herself time by locking herself behind the world's thinnest door.
Yeah, it's made out of essentially ash.
Corkboard. Yeah,
yeah. And so all the kids, I guess, just drop dead once the hive mother's dead, and then Emma said the father and daughter drive away, and she's got two little kind of blisters raised on her arm, and we linger on them for a really long time. So it's it's genetic. She's got the power, and obviously she's got a lot of issues she's going to have to unpack, and she'll do it in therapy, and the brood will be loose.
Well, and the thing about Candy is she doesn't talk ever.
It's a pretty bad performance.
It's a terrible performance, but to her credit, they didn't give her much to work with. They didn't let her say anything, which maybe they did, and it was terrible. But she just kind of is very stone-faced and, boring. She's not a great kid.
Not a great kid.
Not a great kid, not a great actor. I mean, honestly,
well, we're just coming off of Rhoda,
which
was
so good.
Was incredible.
Truly,
The bad
truly
seed
insane.
was really a good seed
Yeah.
in the acting department.
Award-winning seed. So yeah, I mean, to me a little slow, but when we got to that ending, well worth it. Would have loved to linger even a little bit longer on that weird sack. Mm-hmm. It was clear something was amiss because she was sort of sitting like on this kind of pedestal, but her entire sort of shape was hidden by this weird nightgown that she had on. So I was like, oh man.
Oh, really?
We're gonna
You
see
knew
something
was
fucking
under
bananas
there?
when
What
that thing opens
horrors
up.
are underneath
I
there?
thought maybe she'd it would be essentially no anatomy that we would recognize basically from the waist down. That she would just be this weird,
because you never see her body
move around. Yeah, right.
Every time you see her, the rest of the time in the movie, it's just mid shot, basically of her head. I mean, it's
close
just
up on the,
pretty much a close up.
Yeah, because they're hiding the
Babies.
good down
Hiding
below.
the good.
All right. Any games? Any questions? Or we want to jump into these reviews?
Let's rate and review.
Okay. I'll go last. So, Kyle, why don't you go first?
Sure, yeah. Thumbs up. You know how I do it. Yeah, I love Cronenberg movies. I love them so much. They're often it's like, yeah, sure, the metaphors are like super heavy-handed. It's often like not even a metaphor actually. But the body horror stuff is so icky, and it's like still stuff that will shock and terrify me even today, like of all the horrible shit I've seen. So The Brood I still find like effective, and also he's just a really good straight up filmmaker aside from that weird ickiness he brings to things. Like, and he proved it when he made like History of Violence and Eastern Pro. Like those movies are all well made too, because he knows where to put the camera. The performances in this are fucking wonderful. They're so batshit. Oliver Reed as the doctor, fucking awesome.
Great.
So over the top. So just it's perfect. It's perfect. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say about it. Thumbs up. Scariness rating will be I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. Rolls on my yoga mat in my convalescence home.
Yeah, the doctor does this great thing, which is like this cult of personality thing where he feels like a cult leader, where like anytime you express hesitation or disbelief, he like turns it on you. And I'm like, that's a real like paranoiac fear of mental health. Kind of reaction where it's like, oh, they're just there to like fuck with you and like twist you up and stuff like that. I know plenty of people who are like that. So I'm like, oh, it is that actual kind of paranoid fantasy for real. Yeah. And he is like really like hard to like pin down. It's frustrating.
Well, and he turns out like I think he does.
He's sort of sympathetic, maybe. But
yeah, like he didn't realize, which is dumb that he didn't realize that this shit was terrible. But like I think he just got caught up in his own hubris.
Yeah. He seemed to legitimately trying to help her.
It's like, oh, we've kind of like pushed past this sort of evolutionary step. Wait, they're killing people? Ah, damn it.
Yeah.
Shut it all down.
All right. While I do think I get why it was a good film, I did not like it. I give it thumbs down just for my personal taste. No thanks. It was good. I get why it was good. But gross.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I just ugh. I'll never watch it again. I didn't hate it, but it's just not.
Yeah, you did.
No,
I mean the way
I'm not saying I hated it. I didn't enjoy it, but I get that it's a good movie,
right?
And there were parts that were like fucking cool. But I am going to do thumbs down because I didn't enjoy it, but I get why it's a good movie. Like the same way, like I'm sure Moby Dick is a good book, but I'm never going to read it.
Moby Dick is a good book.
Good book. And then I'll give it for what's a comforting thing they do in the movie? Four snowsuits to snuggle in.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's a thumbs up for me. I'd love to watch. I don't like body horror stuff at all. Like somebody put that weird pimple popping simulation in the chat recently, and I was like, and I'd seen that somewhere else, and I was like, no, this thing is following me. Like I can't get away from it. So can we just like chat to like get it off the screen? So that stuff grosses me out. Here, though, I'm kind of like, because it's the kind of weird alchemical mix of like fear and anxiety in the movie setting, it's like fun and invigorating. And I'm like, kind of like car accident, can't look away kind of thing to it. So let's do more of that. It's fun. So it's a thumbs up for me. It's a thumbs up based on the teacher getting killed and then the final sequence alone. Like, whoa, those are totally nuts. And will stick with me. I'm going to give it like I think scary kid stuff is like maybe a little bit lost on me because I'm like, it's not like really like my headspace. So it doesn't have quite the same impact. So I'm gonna give it a 3. 3 like after hours like teacher bone zones. But I thought it was great. Thumbs up. Is it a good entry point into the Cronenberg universe, Kyle? Or do you think?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, this was the first Cronenberg that I watched. Actually, was The Brood.
Oh, hell yeah!
So it's got all of his signature stuff in it, and I think it's like his like what you would consider his early work. It is probably the most well made of his early works. I think. Yeah, it's a very good entry point. So if you're not familiar with Cronenberg, this is a good place to
check it out. Check it out. You guys want to tell us about 1 Hour Till Air?
I would love to tell you about 1 Hour Till Air. It's an written in real time, late night talk show, sort of behind the scenes, like the Larry Sanders Show or 30 Rock. It's a show Emma and I are in. We're two of the writers on the show. Basically, we just we go up there and we get headlines at the top of the show, and then we have to write jokes. We have the whole show time, which is about 45 minutes to write jokes, and the host gives a monologue with our jokes at the end of the show. And also, there's other improv happening while we're doing that.
Neither of you have ever
literally
seen
have never
this.
seen it. Done the show.
I'm sure it's great.
10 times
They're
now.
good improvisers. But
They're very talented, but yeah, we're busy.
But
writing
don't
jokes.
come for that part of it.
Come for our part.
Come
of
for the
it.
written material.
That's,
and that's Saturdays 8:30.
At Cold Town, 8:30.
for 3 more weeks, 4 more weeks.
4 more weeks.
Hell yeah. So go to coldtowntheater.com for more information on that show. And as always, please like and subscribe to this podcast. Tell your friends about it. And then, check out that Facebook,
Tell your broods.
Instagram,
We
and
don't care
Twitter.
who listens.
Broods.
At We Are Deaf Afraid. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye. We love you.